Hey guys, welcome to another Tutorial Thursday, Titty. And today we're talking about how to do a green screen effect. Like this. To do an effect like this, you need a few things. You need a green screen and maybe some lighting, and you need two shots. Okay, you need two shots. You need the green screen shot and whatever you want to put in the background. In our case, we have the same angle twice because the purpose of our green screen here is not to replace the background. Our purpose is to separate the foreground. We do that so I can use the foreground, manipulate it without manipulating the background. I could have shot this thing in one shot. Me and Aramis in the background doing the same thing in one shot, but then for this particular effect I would need to cut myself out frame by frame, and that would take a very long time, and I obviously don't want to do that. That's why I use the green screen. It's not a great green screen effect here. You can see that I have like a shadow here and a shadow there, and there's like some highlights behind the green screen, so it's not great preparation here, but usually how it is, you know, with low budget productions, you don't have time to deal with all those details, so we just try to do it as good as we can. And if you're interested to get the same setup I have here, this is like a portable green screen. On the other side it's a blue screen. I have a link in the description. It's an affiliate link with Amazon, so if you buy this thing, I'm gonna get a cut too. Anyways, let's begin here. So the first thing we have to do is align those two shots. We have this here in the foreground, me acting that I get hit in the back and then I fall out of frame. Beautiful acting there, beautiful, Oscar. Anyways, we align this here. The best way to do that is because we have like two shots, right? And underneath that we have Aramis slicing me into two pieces without me. So we just go to the place where he just did the hit, okay? And then we turn back on the layer where it's me. And then I'm gonna go pull it, then I'm gonna get hit at exactly the spot. And if I was a better actor, it would be better to read, but it's somewhere around here. If you want to see both layers in the same time, you can hit T for opacity and go with opacity down to 50%. Now you see both layers in the same time, so you can align them better, okay? Anyways, let's bring that back on 100. How do we do this green screen effect? How do we replace our background? You can do this thing in Premiere, but we're doing that in After Effects because of those highlights and stuff like that. I think the keyer or the key light, whatever it's called in Premiere, is not as precise as it is in After Effects. That's why we're doing this effect in After Effects. If you're interested on a tutorial how to do that in Premiere, please let me know. I can do that too. But for now, we're working here with After Effects. So first thing we do is we duplicate our layer, just the what is it called, the green screen layer. We ignore everything what's underneath. We just ignore it. We just duplicate this by Control D. Okay. So we have the same layer twice. We click the eye off on the lower one, so we only focus on the upper one, okay? This one. And now we go right click, effect, keying, and there is the effect called key light 1.2. So as you can see, nothing happened. And that's fine. So what we're gonna do is we'll just go through this thing and see, okay, where do we have less shadow? Okay, it's here. So now we try to pick a green. How do we pick a green? We try to find the happy medium between the light greens and the dark greens. So you see the greens here are darker, the greens here are lighter. So we're gonna try to pick one of you know, something like a happy medium. So both greens are like you know, calculated in the algorithm of the keyer. So we do that by clicking this thing here, okay, and with that we can pick green. So don't do the highlights, obviously, don't do the shadows here. Do something in the middle, quickly, like this thing. Let's do this, and it should be close to your body, okay? Don't go far away, because this screen is probably going to be a little different than this one, so try to pick something close to your body. Okay, as you can see, this is the first thing what happened. It kind of replaced the background already, but when you zoom in here, you see that it's not perfect. See those edges? This is not great, but it's a very good first start. So now we're gonna do something which might look weird to you, but it does make sense. Just stick with me. You click on Final Result, and Final Result, this is like the view, the way you see it, the way it would be rendered, but we don't want to get it rendered like this. We click on Final Result, and then we click on Screen Matte. Now, as you can see, it looks like shit, but stick with me here. That way we can work with a mask, like just with a mask. So when we have our mask, this is everything what is black is going to be cut out, everything what's white is going to stay in there. So this obviously is going to stay in there. This is our mask. This is going to be in there because this is not green here. Everything what's black is gone, and those gray areas are going to be transparent. So when we go back to the final result, instead of screen matte, we see here that it's just transparent. It's not completely gone here, okay? That's why we go on screen matte, so we can see those things better. And now there's a few things we have to tweak to get this. Our goal is to make this black, okay? This white, this black, okay? If I had like a green shirt on, there would be a problem because it would try to key this green shirt as well. So if you do green screen videos, green screen effects, make sure to not wear green to make your life easier. Anywho, now we click on Screen Matte. There is a few of those things you have to know, but it's also playing around. Every shot is different, okay? Like you have to play around with your shot differently. The better your green screen looks, the better it's lit, the less you have to play around with those settings, just that you know. If you have a perfectly great lit green screen, you almost don't have to do anything here. Anyways, clip black is the first one we do. When we move this, let's go extreme, we see that everything becomes black. All the gray areas become black. This is exactly what we want. But this number should not be too high. Like 49% is like almost like half, and you can try that, but I prefer being like as low as possible. But let's just stick with whenever those little gray areas are almost gone, let's stay there. Because if it's still a little there, we can live with that. And then we're gonna do the same thing with the whites. We go down with the whites. We don't have to go too extreme because white is our white is pretty white already. So let's just do, for argument's sake, just a little bit. And now we see it's like a perfectly black mask, black and white mask. Now if we click back on Final Result, it looks fine, really. It looks fine, and just our edges are a little sharp, not naturally sharp. No edge is as sharp as this edge, like naturally. So what we can do is screen softness. So we go back to our screen matte, so we see what we're doing. Screen softness, that basically just softens our edges. That would be too much, okay? And this is like really based on experience and on the shot. Let's say I was out of focus in this shot, okay? Let's say I'm out of focus, then my edge wouldn't be as sharp, you know? But in this shot, I am in focus, so the screen softness should be just a little bit, 2% or so, okay? Play around with it and go back and forth to the final result. Yeah, this is still a little too blurry, that's too soft. Let's go back a little bit. Cool. But don't just look at one spot, like the shoulders for example. Go up here and see, okay, something is weird going on around my hat. For that you can go to Shrink and Grow, which basically makes the expanse or makes the mask smaller. So just a tiny bit we go in the negative a little bit, so it basically takes away the edges. And the final result, that looks not bad. And try to ignore everything else here. Just ignore it because we're gonna fix that later. Let's go back to screen matte, because this is actually what we're working on. We still see those highlights here in the background. Let's see if we can fix it. Let's see if we see them in this shot. That's the thing, we do see those highlights in real because we use the same shot, right? So those highlights are in the background either way, so we don't have to fix them actually. But if we really try to fix them, we would need to go to screen matte, look at those highlights here, and play around with those things a little more. So that helps a little bit. If we go up with the screen, this part wide, that would remove the highlights. Let's go back to final result if it messed up anything. No, still looks fine. So yeah, this is how you could fix those white highlights in the background. Back to screen matte, this is what we were working on. I just go back and forth with final result for you. When I work by myself, for myself, I don't do that usually. Anyways, let's move on. So the next step we do is, remember that we copied and pasted the layers, so we have two of the same layers on top of each other. So this green screen effect is only on the top layer. Now what we do is I click this eye back on, so both are technically visible, but they're on top of each other, so we only see the top one. And we click on the lower one, and what we do is we have the track matte option here. We have 4 options. I'm not gonna get into it what they do, but for green screen effect, if we want to keep the foreground and lose the background, we're gonna go on Luma Matte, this guy. So now it looks like the final result, but what actually happens is that we use the mask here we were working before with. We use this mask and attach this mask to the lower layer. That way we work undestructively on the actual green screen effect. And this eye has to be off now. So basically it takes the information from this layer and uses it on this layer. You can use this technique for many different things, but just to keep it simple, just use Luma Matte, and just in case you wanted to have it reversed, you want actually the background to stay and the foreground to disappear, you would do this. Click on Luma Inverted Matte, okay? Luma Matte is what we want here. So that looks pretty decent, right? Again, ignore everything around. We're gonna fix that now. So next step is draw a mask. A mask, you can draw a mask with this little thing, pen tool, or with a rectangle or one of those tools. But in that case, we're gonna go with the pen tool, and now we can make sure you selected the lower layer. Now you draw a very rough mask, very close to the green screen edge. Draw this mask. Bam. So what happened is, a mask, you draw a mask, just a rough mask, so we just cut everything out from the edges. It's called a garbage mask, as far as I know. So basically we have 2 masks now. We have this one, our green screen mask, and on the actual layer which we actually use, we draw the garbage mask. Yeah, and that way we have a perfectly keyed shot. Now we should go through it and see if we have any issues, because only because we fixed it on one spot doesn't mean that it's gonna be great in the entire shot, you know, because of the shadows moving and stuff like that. Looks fine. I saw something in the beginning. What is this? I don't know what it is in real life. Let's see. Okay, this is like one of those gray areas, like those shadows. That's why we go back and forth. We can go back to the upper layer and play around with those settings more. We can try to fix it. If we can't fix it, like now, we just go to our garbage man. We can also animate this, just roughly. So we go on M, on the mask path, we go to a spot where it's fine. We click on this little eye, on this little stopwatch. Now we go back to the moment where we see those gray areas and just animate the mask roughly so we don't have those gray areas in our shot. As long as you don't go with this thing over you, you're fine. So just stay like this, okay? So now our mask is animated, the garbage man. And just make sure the gray areas are always outside of this garbage man. Okay? In the end it's fine because the green screen is better living in the ends. Okay, now we can turn this eye off again. Let's look at our shot again. So it's gone. One thing is missing though. When you think you're done, or when, let's say you're done with the green screen effect, just select both, right click, pre-compose, click on OK. Now we have our green screen effect in here, so it's like one layer. It's easier to work with. Just delete everything after that. Yeah. So now we have two different shots. What I like to do, or what makes sense, in that case, in this shot, we can't really tell that there is like a depth of field, but just to create the illusion that there is, because in reality there is. It's two different shots. In his shot, he is in focus. In my shot, I'm in focus. So what I like to do is I select both, do a Gaussian blur filter or effect on both of them, and I select, like, let's say, just so we see better, we go on 13%, background out of focus, foreground in focus. So that just creates the illusion, okay, this is an actual shot, you know, that not everything in the shot is in focus. So the background is out of focus now, just because I put like this filter. It's animated now, so we could have a focus shift, but this is a topic for another day. Anywho, this is our shot now. He slices me, bomb. So here I'm not getting out of frame completely because in our effect I actually get cut in half. If you want to know how to do this effect where I get cut into two pieces, I can do that. Just let me know in the comments below, and if this video gets more than 100 likes, I'm going to do that in the next tutorial Thursday. So if you have any questions about how to do a green screen effect like this, let me know in the comments below, and see you in the next tutorial Thursday. Titties.